InShalla and Ashe. Don't mind the bright light in the background. It's raining here and I had to add some light, so I'm looking a little bright there as I check myself out. But as always, InShalla and Ashe, blessings to you, my energetic beings. And as always, thanks for showing up. Holistic Sha'Medium and subtle energy surgeon, Tonya D here. So the sturgeon moon meditation is almost ready. You're going to love the meditation. I share some insights into the realm of where the other cosmic energies are in that particular podcast, or moon meditation, I should say. And also, gratitude for subscribing to my channel and echoing it out into the universe, sending you all some galactic love there as well. But this daily snippet is actually brought to us by a magical blend. I'm still in the frequency of yesterday's snippet. And the rain here, it's been flowing pretty heavy for, it'll be almost 3 days later today. The river in my yard, like courses to the side, is actually making its magical sound too. So it really is like heaven on earth. It's pretty lush. And yesterday's love story was one of being committed or making the decisions to propose, where today we're on with like the engagement. So it's not just the wedding and it's not just the ring. So years ago, like I would say I was probably 30, I literally bought myself a wedding ring and kind of married myself, or at least I committed to myself. I got engaged to myself. So that's kind of like the energy of today, where we love who we are so much, where we literally make this commitment to stay in the engagement. So it's like the pre-marriage field. So I guess I could say that I'm actually engaged to myself, which isn't a bad thing. I have really big dreams. I have really big dreams, actually. But the elemental energy of today is Yin Earth, Jai, the heavenly stem, and the pig, or the yang water, is actually on the branch. So we have some wood in the day branch, but it's hidden. So again, it's kind of this nature kind of day. If I was to look at the hour, and I took this screenshot around 7:30 this morning, because I like to check out the elements before I go live. But we have fire and the wood on the hour. So with this rain I'm getting, this lush green plants would be great. The hour of the rat would actually create a directional branch combination for your north sector of your house. The spleen and the stomach are literally online today, the digestion. So this chart is really pretty balanced if I was to look, or not to look actually at the hour, or to look at the hour. Actually, you could do both. So Earth is this nurturing element with the monkey on the month, or fire monkey on the month. So it's like this charismatic decision maker, someone who works with minerals, crystals, or metals, like to create jewelry, or even somebody who creates cars, automobiles, people that work with metal, basically any kind of metal. You could make axes, knives, metal. So Earth itself, it's this transformer kind of element it has a stability, or like a foundation. Being fair is actually a quality of an Earth person. They're into fairness. So it really is the balance between all of these elements. They make the best organizers and even managers. They can resolve different emotional issues in really practical ways. They are sensitive, but not overly emotional. So yeah, they are sensitive. They might appear as if they're cold. They even seem maybe like they're stubborn or maybe rigid in a way, because of their emotional, their foundation. They're grounded. So they're sensitive and yet grounded. So it's a great space to be in. Change is great for them as long as it's kind of gradual and slow. Think of how an ox moves pretty slow, or a sheep. They don't really run around really quick when you think about the animals themselves in nature. But if things move too fast, if it's abrupt, it really disrupts their transformation, their frequency. So it's kind of fun. And if you can be anything in this world, I would say be kind. that is what I've kind of been saying that a lot to myself lately. But the cosmic energy, and I am going to bring in the elementals of the cosmic energy as well in my little sidebar, but we are kind of on our side, meaning the energy is shifting midday. So it's time to find your joy. And when you do find your joy, it's time to take action and activate the joy molecules. So it's like this highly energetic kind of compulsive energy where patience is kind of lacking because you're like, you want to get moving. So you feel a sense of kind of urgency inside of you with whatever kind of pops in your mind. So it's this feeling of kind of arrogance or aggressiveness, and it can be even defensive in a way. So if your main operator, your heart channel, is neglected, or if you have been neglecting her, then she might just act out in an overcompensating kind of way, or maybe you even overreact. So for all of those reasons and even more, today is a great day to find your way to a yoga class, an exercise class, go for a walk out in the rain. That's probably what I'm going to do. I like to do a meditative walk. I do that in my car. Any kind of movement, I go into a state of meditation. So it's a day to really ground our energy, to merge the body, the mind, and the spirit, those channels. Doing the physical things like cleaning the house, cleaning the garage. I've just been organizing mine, just picking little areas and just getting rid of things. I literally have a desk sitting in my driveway. If anybody wants to pick it up, it's free. So whatever it is really that you need to get done today is actually the day to commit and really get it moving. It's going to really burn off the excessive energy and really get you in a state of focus. So your mind kind of is the narrative there. Then, ultimately, we become grounded and even centered. So the elevation of today is to kickstart our heart. If you've heard that Motley Crue song, To Kickstart Your Heart, that's probably one of my favorites, not because of the storyline, but I just like the song. So you really want to kickstart your heart for more of this engagement of personal love and joy in your heart center. So to actually bring that into your personal love story. You might already know what you need to do next to get the ball rolling, to get into the flow. For me, I am always checking the fishing line of my feelings and my intuition. I frequent this engagement often. It really is as if I have to tune into the emotional field with some kind of insurance that it's the right action and also that the timing is right. And my mom would often tell me that I was born way before my time. So I've learned to take a pause in space for the time. So if the time is right, to initiate my intentions, if that makes sense. So when you see like the green light, go ahead and make your move. And if you don't have a specific action or something that you can start or stop, then make sure you actually do something that's symbolic with the gesture of your intentions. So like for me, if I know I should sit at my ancestor altar, but it isn't quiet at my house, like people are all around, I always just make sure that I leave a candle lit so I can tune into them during a meditation. Or, say you're in the middle of starting your own business, or maybe your business is changing. You already have one. I know mine is. You really have to get this ball rolling. It's like throwing the bowling ball to the pins. Do your research how to start a corporation, to set one up, or, contact the licensing division, make sure what licenses you do need. Like for myself, I have to have 3 different licenses that always come due at the same time. So September always creates havoc for me because I have more going out sometimes than I have coming in. It's just a thing. It's been like this for 30 plus years. Can't really change it, but that's just what it is, right? So it can be something simple as well. Something like, hey, I'm going to just be kind to myself today. And then also treat yourself kinder. Just emanate your own kindness in a way. And since today is actually in alignment with the galactic center, we have like a trinity. So it's this elevated day to do something to initiate into a manifestation. So it's time really to use your feelings and your intuition to a higher elevated image or a vision. So I would think big and bigger. It's the perfect moment to really start your love and your personal joy, like upcycling both of them, whatever that is for you, and to really, really navigate your choices by the feelings that come in. You can do a check-in with your feelings and also your intuition kind of at the same time. I usually do my feelings first and kind of fill into the flow of what's coming in, whether it's mine or somebody else's. That's always a thing for me. But our gut instincts, if you will, you want to tune into those before you hit the send button and put them out into the airwaves. I guess that's kind of how I would say that. For me, I've done this several times. I don't know if you ever have, but where you send the wrong text to the wrong person and it was actually meant for somebody else. Yeah, that's a thing, right? So it's kind of like that in a way. So you want to check in first before you send out. So for me, it really is holding the line with different guidelines on my belief channel. Are they serving my higher interest? Am I upcycling my belief system? And just keeping the faith, like it's the God channel for me. I really have to hold into the frequency of the line of the creator, the source. So we really absolutely 100%, we want to escalate to take things to that higher elevator in the sky, the love and the joy in our life, and literally put them into motion. So for me, I absolutely 100% have to mind my feelings. Sometimes I literally, like if I'm sitting here, I'm sitting on my hands so I don't have my mind get in the way. I have to sit on my hands. It's a thing. It's just, and I'm aware of it, or I do this finger thing too, just to hold my ground. I have to ground. It's just a thing I have to do. And I ground a lot through meditation, through my core, through the root. You can ground through any energetic center. It just depends what you want to ground into the physical world that we live in. So, you can ground your emotions. You can ground in your self-esteem. You can ground in your heart center. It's just the narrative sometimes, gets in the way. You can ground in your spiritual influencers, your archangel beings, whatever it is that you feel called to ground into. That's why I use different elements. Different elements bring in different energetic beings as well, elemental beings. So yeah. Another influence that's actually online today is the response to the outer influencers or even yourself. So any response that you make to yourself or even to others today will actually ultimately create a cause that will then create a new effect. So make sure absolutely that any and every response that you have to yourself and also to other people or other things is in the most elevated vibration of love ever possible. So it really is. It's the day to make the move, to take the action, to kickstart your creative vision, the flavor of it for your own personal love, the dream vision, whatever that looks like for you. A project to literally project into the future and hold space for it. Just take the first step. I was going to say the first action. And you kind of want to pace yourself, take a pause, so your heart and your ego don't just try to take on more, actually. I'm looking at my desk, it's a mess. So it's like baby steps. You don't want to take on more than you can actually do. And you want to be mindful of how you actually respond to others around you. Sometimes I get mad at Didymus and I respond so cold and it just breaks my heart space. So then I apologize immediately after. And then, he doesn't know that I'm busy doing something, or maybe he does and he's trying to pull me away. It doesn't really matter. But, you don't want to do that kind of a thing. And I just used him as an example. Because oftentimes when we do this, we unknowingly sign up for more karma that we really don't want to continue out into the threads. So you want to kind of dissipate all of those fishing lines is kind of how I see them, or tinker toys. I play with those too. But You want to take everything to this place of higher love, the vision of whatever that is for you, and hold the space in your personal container, in your bubble. You could sit and meditate and just transmit healing light for high vibrational, multidimensional energy in your meditation, you know, utilizing your internal windows to open up to another world by really just stimulating your own inner clairvoyance or your inner sight. Today, our root center is actually online, Muladhara. So obviously it's colors of red, crimson, burgundies. This is kind of an orange red. You could even bring in pink. And also it's our manifestation channel, along with Mars, the juiciness of Mars. So if you know where Mars is in your natal chart, your astrology chart, or, if you don't even know your birth time, you could just do a solar chart, or where it's currently transiting, that will actually assist you on a day like today. So Mars right now is actually in Virgo. So that's the organization action or the analyzing kind of action that you might take with your heart's engagement. So for me, it's where does my heart believe I belong? Where does my heart believe I belong? So I have to sit with that. So this magnificent energy is actually online today as well. So it really is a day to get things done because you are actually ready. And when you think about Mars and Virgo, that really is like cleaning house. Have you ever met a Virgo? They're very analytical and organized in their cleaning. And even if a room is a mess, raise my hand, like it's organized clutter. We know where everything is. And I'm not a Virgo, but I do have Virgo rising. However, another thing, you might have to kind of prioritize the world's needs kind of over your own as well, because this is galactic, it's outer, and it's on the day-to-day for today. So you might have to take the higher road on different things, especially, whatever it is you're creating in your container. We also have a time of like self-discovery in relationships to our own self-worth. We're going to have like a 5-month integration kind of phase. Something that you're manifesting or creating really has the potential for this innovative kind of upgrade. So, it's like it's holding out the line into the future, and then kind of, if you've ever fished, you like turn the wheel. I wish I had a fishing pole. You just kind of pull I call it the wheel. It's not the wheel. My dad's up fishing, but so you're kind of cascading it out and kind of pulling back, but you're doing it with patience. If you've ever watched somebody fish, you have to have a lot of patience when you're sitting there in the boat. The seed sound for the day is loam. It's actually spelled Lam when you look it up, but it's the O like in road. So, you could chant that during the day, especially if you want to anchor in whatever it is you want to manifest, because that's the seed sound of the root center. So it really is time to like root ourselves in to create our own manifestations, whatever it is, and people are always, we're always wishing for abundance, but abundance comes in many flavors. Abundance could be like the joy bundle of a new baby. Abundance could be birth or a crop of some great apples or mulberries or whatever it is. Abundance comes in many forms. So yeah, I just wanted to muse about that a little bit. The angelic beings that are online, I love Ariel. Ariel, the Lioness of God. I think it's because it's the Lioness of God. You really want to call her in to assist with the skill of manifestation. So you need a skill to really create the abundance. That was kind of my abundance story. And this Archangel can assist with the skill that we need to manifest our needs, even our wants. So it's like the key to unlock the door. Particularly, I love this because androgynous. She's an androgynous being, and when I was in the other realm during my coma, all the beings were androgynous. There was like a round table of them. I call it my round table, my spiritual round table. But what she does is she actually helps the environment and also, to be prosperous, whatever that looks like. So a prosperous field of wheat, I guess, or it could be anything, just anything that's in abundance. She also helps reduce the carbon footprint while also, assisting in paying the bills, bringing in what we need to cover ourselves. So I would also call in Metatron today. I love the angel Metatron. It's the angelic being of being presence, or the presence of this being, assisting in just moving beyond those so-called limitations of being human. Brings us into like just knowing it's this quantum unlimitless kind of feeling that I feel. It really is having these quantum reigns. It's sacred geometry. It's mathematics. Hi, Amber. And the card today, I actually picked, I went back to my fairy deck because we felt kind of mystical and magical today. The fairy ring deck, that's kind of the deck I used. But this is Tryamour. What a name, Tryamour. It means a test of love. So this is the autumn court. It's fitting actually for a rainy day like today because we're heading into the autumn field, right? So the image of this card, you can actually see the little fairy maiden sitting there. She looks like she's sitting on a rock. She's dressed in this gold gown is kind of what it looks like. And in the background, far back there, you can kind of see her human lover, her man. He's kind of this handsome knight. So about this fairy, according to Arthurian legends, Arthur, I love King Arthur and all those legends, all the stories. They're, in the different realms that you can play with them. But there's a knight called Launfal, and he fell in love with this little fairy maid. So she actually agreed to appear whenever he wished on the condition. The condition it was that he must never speak of her or even summon her when anybody else was present or around. That's why her name is actually Tryamour, meaning this test of love. And of course, his love was tested, right? That's how this works. So he had a conversation with Guinevere. I would say they had a disagreement. And he broke his promise with Tryamour. He elevated and told Guinevere about her. So he was actually summoned by the courts to produce his mistress within a year, or he would die. And of course, the fairy would no longer come in because, he was tested by love, basically. But a year later, he stood in the courtyard of Camelot. He was waiting to be executed. And then through the gate, riding on a white horse, you can just imagine all this. Here she comes, this little fairy, Tryamour, and she appears through, though they agreed, she appears, she agreed that he, through the whole court system, the Arthurian legend, but she agreed that he had actually spoken in truth. He wasn't speaking against her ill will or anything. So then these two lovers right away together into fairyland. Sounds all mystical and magical, right? But the lady herself was never seen again. And this Launfal, this knight, he appears actually once a year to look out into the world of the mortals. So he's in the fairy realm. That actually, he was denied to be in our mortal world. He's in the fairy world from right now. So when this card appears, it actually implies that we have a choice of some kind. So in this case, it's, we're deciding with our heart rather than with our head, which also is actually pretty fitting for a day like today. However, we should actually also consider carefully all of the options that we actually have with far-reaching kinds of consequences, the cause and the effect. So if I had pulled more cards and it was surrounded by helpful cards with this Tryamour, it could point to harmony or to actually true love. Or if it's bad, this aspect could actually, it shows where a relationship is going to be tested to the breaking point, because that's what her name means. So being that when I pulled this card, it was reversed actually. I took the picture the opposite direction, but it actually was reversed. It's kind of this indication between our external and our internal kind of pressures within relationships, like inside and outside of us. So you might kind of experience a contradiction in your feelings, like inner conflicts or even an indecision. Indecisions are incisions in our field, our conscious field. So just be aware for that. Some affirmations for today, for myself, I am always frequenting being mindful of my intuition and literally waiting, taking a breath and a pause for the timing to actually be right before I act. Like I'm always like, I have to sit and take a pause. It might be my reflector part too. Waiting 30 days is kind of a thing. It's actually difficult if you ever try to wait 30 days to make a decision. But affirmation would be like, I am feeling and sensing when the right time to act is, because timing is crucial in some gauges, right? Or I am engaging my intuition and my feelings before I act. So it really is a day to engage these two senses, bring in the calibration of our sacral and our spiritual insight center, sacral being the feelings, and actually, make it an act of joy kind of day, an act of love kind of day, and stay in that narrative. And InShalla, Ashe. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the other side.